The other game nationally that's intriguing to me is Miami and Florida State. I mean, this was the game for the longest time. This was the game. Miami kind of slid under the radar for the first 4 weeks of college football season. They didn't play the Arkansas State game. They struggled a little bit against Toledo and Bethune-Cookman and then blew them out. They were irrelevant football games. And then lo and behold, you put them on a Friday night, you put them against Duke, you watch it, and Miami looked like Miami of the 80s. They're fast, they're athletic, they get a turnover, they go over, they got the Uncle Luke gold chain they put on the turnover guy. I mean, it looks like something we've seen before in the 80s, but it feels like every time we say Miami's back, they lose to Florida State, and then they lose a bunch of other games. Florida State's not Florida State right now. James Blackman's doing the best he can, but Florida State's just not Florida State. Miami's a 3.5-point favorite. I think Miami wins that game. And Florida State, all of a sudden, that NC State loss doesn't look bad. They're going to lose to Clemson. You lose to Miami. You lose to Alabama. There's 4 losses. There's still some other tricky games on their schedule. Is Florida State looking at a 6-6 year, maybe even a 5-7 year? So that one's really intriguing tomorrow. To me, from that standpoint of if Florida State gets rolled out of Tallahassee by the Hurricanes, where does Jimbo Fisher and that team go? And by the way, losing Justin Fields, which they're going to do here later this morning to Georgia, is a blow to Florida State. Florida State should recruit with the best of them. But think about this. Justin Fields is going to go to a school with 2 other 5-star quarterbacks when he could go to Florida State. And I know DeAndre Francois will be back, but he's going to choose Georgia over Florida State when competition is going to be really tough at Georgia, and he could be the next guy at Florida State. That kind of tells you something ain't right now in Tallahassee with what's going on.
I have a difficult time even understanding that the quarterback position is the most important on the field by far, that DeAndre Francois, who was not one of the very best quarterbacks in the nation, but based on what he was able to do under a siege of pressure most of the season and getting beat up and projecting toward being a much improved quarterback in his sophomore campaign, I expected him to have a huge season and Florida State to have a big year as well and make the college football playoff. I just can't believe with all that top 5 talent on offense and defense with what should be one of the best defenses in the country in terms of talent, not just in recruited talent, but guys that have proven it at this level. I just thought the defense was going to be lights out and they were going to be a college football playoff contender. I understand they're not that team without Francois, but I'm just surprised how much they've tumbled and looked mediocre, needed a play with 50 seconds left to beat Wake Forest. NC State's a pretty good team. They just beat Louisville last night. Miami's kind of ascended a little bit too early in terms of the estimations I think people have placed on them. Yes, Duke's a really good, solid, decent team, one of the top 35 or 40 teams in the nation, but Miami should win that game. They won it emphatically, so that was an impressive effort. I just think that Florida State's going to be a difficult out for a lot of teams down the stretch. I don't think you want to play Florida State with Blackman. We're going to assume he's going to improve week to week, become more comfortable, more confident, and maybe hit the weights in the offseason. That's what he really needs to do in addition. But I think Florida State, Miami, I'm going to have a difficult time picking this one, but I'm going to have to come up with a selection sometime in the next day.